All right, Prater on the Ballgame, broadcasting live from the Lithia Ford of Boise studio, where Ford begins in Idaho. We got a lot to get to. Boise State spring football, yes, they were on the blue today. Some more full contact stuff, but Prater, we want to talk Boise State NFL news, and oddly, there was a lot of things flying around today for the Boise State-loving NFL fan that we want to get to as well. But tomorrow at this time, it's going to be a Masters Wednesday, and I know how pumped you are, man.
Yeah, we're going to go out to Augusta National for our annual trip tomorrow, 4 o'clock. Mark Bowden, the star cameraman who's been with CBS Sports and many other national entities, but he's been covering the Masters as a cameraman on the 12th hole for 30 consecutive years. He's been there since yesterday. He's up there in that green tower that you see right there on Amen Corner on that famous 12th hole, par 3 right behind Ray's Creek, and he's sitting up there with his Gatorade bottle and his Skittles and doing his thing. So Mark Bowden is going to join us live from Augusta tomorrow at 4 o'clock, and then we're going to have a quick little conversation afterwards. Jason Kelsey's showing up at the Masters tomorrow. This is the Augusta National that once kicked Gary McCord off the course because he talked about greens and bikini wax.
Gary McCord, too, is a golf broadcasting icon.
And here comes Jason Kelsey. I love Jason Kelsey. I love the podcast. I love everything about him. Jason Kelsey, too much. You're crossing the line. ESPN, too much. You're crossing the line. We're going to have a little debate about Jason Kelsey at the Masters tomorrow.
Yeah, I don't know if Greg's going to be okay with it. Like, Jason Kelsey is, to Eagle fan, like, he can do no wrong. Well, you might bug Greg a little bit on that because you don't want Jason Kelsey chugging beers on Amen Corner.
Listen, I'm still aware. My broadcast IQ is still high enough to realize that there's a time and place for Jason Kelsey, and I don't know that Augusta National is that
100%, 100%. So we'll have some fun with that.
All right, Prater. Odd day for Boise State players in the NFL. Let's just start in Vegas because why wouldn't we?
And the reason why it's an odd day, if you're one of the 10 teams in the NFL that has a brand new head coach, today is the first day your entire team can get together. So I'm not sure every team is doing it, but certainly the Raiders and the Bills did. We'll get to the Bills, but there's no practice. You don't hit the field. You're mostly in the building. You're there for meetings. You're there for some conditioning. You can go work out in the weight room, all that kind of stuff. But it seems like that as the Raiders put out on social media, Ballgame, the building is buzzing.
Yeah, today officially phase 1 of the voluntary offseason workout program that the NFL, everything's official in the NFL because there's certain things you can do during certain dates. We did hear, I read Ashton Jeanty was in the building today, as was Kirk Cousins, the new Raider QB, joining the fold. And the Raiders, they're doing smart things now. Is that where we're talking? Because they kind of killed 2 birds with 1 stone today, Prater.
Yeah, ironically, Fernando Mendoza is showing up in the building today. And the rule, it's called, it's a top 30 visit. And every NFL team can bring in 30 prospects leading up to the NFL draft. They present their list to the NFL. Here's my 30. These are the team. These are the players that are going to come visit our headquarters on our site, on our times, on our terms. And today they scheduled Fernando Mendoza, April 7th, when everybody else was there. So Max Crosby, as he always does, shows up first. There's pictures of him showing up in the dark. Tom Brady is there. We have not seen pictures of Ashton Jeanty, although Ballgame saw the report, but I have not seen a picture of Ashton Jeanty. So there's a very good possibility that today, Kirk Cousins, Ashton Jeanty, Tom Brady, and Fernando Mendoza, and whoever else was invited, sat around the table and sang Kumbaya for the very first time.
For the very first time, Ashton Jeanty looked and saw in the room at the same time his 2 quarterbacks, whether it's Cousins or hopefully Mendoza, for a long time. Like, Boise State fan, you want this to work with Mendoza. Because if it doesn't and he's a bust and you don't know where you're going, you'll wake up and Ashton Jeanty will be in year 5 and all of a sudden he's never done anything on a successful team. This Mendoza thing needs to work. Tom Brady needs to know what he's doing. John Spytek as well. And Mark Davis, I like it. Get the hell out of the way, man.
I think it's kind of cool. I know that obviously he was a high draft pick, and and they're going to want to run the ball to support Fernando Mendoza. But if Ashton Jeanty is this involved with the Raiders or this, thought of in this high regard already, I just think it's kind of cool that, we haven't seen the social media video yet of him, dapping up Mendoza, but like that kind of stuff usually is like the 5th or 6th year veteran that's like the face of the franchise. And I know that Jeanty had a decent rookie season. By the end of the year, he started to hit a few more home runs out of the backfield. But you didn't talk about Ashton Jeanty as one of the best running backs in the NFL last year.
No.
But to still have him be kind of the Raiders kind of, I don't want to say building the team around him, but for him to be this much of a part of their plans, I think speaks volumes to kind of what Clint Kubiak wants to do.
Feels like he's getting off to the right foot there. The more key players and the names that you want to show up are showing up. And it's just weird, Prater. We were talking about this. I asked you about this in Cubicleville today. And that's the fact that, in a weird kind of sort of way, Tom Brady is Ashton Jeanty's boss.
Or one of them, ultimately it's Mark Davis.
Come on, man. There's no fun there, right? It's kind of weird. Tom Brady is like in a higher position with the employer than Ashton Jeanty is.
Yeah, 100%.
And if Tom Brady says, "Hey, Ash, I need you to do this. I want you to drink this type of protein shake in the morning and tell me what you think about it, whatnot." Ashton's probably going to drink the protein shake.
I would imagine, we're all going to drink the Kool-Aid if Tom Brady tells us to.
I wish that could be the case for Scott Matlock, but it isn't, Prater. And we're going to be real on Idaho Sports Talk. Yes, we like Scott Matlock. We root for Scott Matlock, who's carved out a surprising NFL career with the same team. He switched positions. He kind of has a cult following among the NFL and certainly Chargers fans, because who doesn't love a big, bruising, red-headed fullback? But dare I say the Chargers, or at least their new OC, doesn't love a big, bruising, red-headed fullback?
Yeah, Alec Ingold is a brand new fullback for the Los Angeles Chargers, previously with Mike McDaniel. They brought him in. I think they signed him for a 2-year contract, right around $7-9 million bucks. And that's happened a couple of weeks ago, guys, and it just kind of quietly happened. And if you go out there and type in, Alec Ingold and Scott Matlock, there's a lot of NFL journalists who are speculating that Scott Matlock's days in San Diego, Los Angeles Chargers, SoFi are numbered. That some people think that he might be done with that franchise. I'm not sure if it's going to become that extreme, but you certainly don't keep. I think there's less than 10 NFL teams that keep a fullback. Nobody's going to keep 2 fullbacks.
No.
And the Chargers have really spoken volumes when they moved Scott Matlock over to the fullback side. He just wasn't clicking on the defensive side. Maybe there's room for growth. Maybe this offseason changed a few things. Maybe Scott Matlock is perfectly fine because we can't really find any information, and he doesn't report for duty for another couple of weeks. But there's a lot of speculation out there that Scott Matlock might be in trouble.
Mike McDaniel, former Dolphins coach, new Chargers offensive coordinator. And you guys, Scott Matlock was kind of he is a Jim Harbaugh guy. Jim Harbaugh publicly, several instances, have talked about how much he appreciates and loves Scott Matlock. He called him TED. That's an acronym for there every day. And Harbaugh said he wants a team full of TEDs. And that's what Scott Matlock is. But if Mike McDaniel's like, dude, this type of fullback does mean nothing in this offense. And by the way, Alec Ingold, the new Chargers fullback, where he played, obviously, Miami, under Mike McDaniel. Like you said, Mike McDaniel brought in his own fullback here, man. Well, it's okay. He'll just play on defense. That's what he got drafted for, Scott Matlock. He'll go back and he'll play D-tackle. Well, last year, he played 18 snaps on defense all year. That's 2% of the snaps the Chargers played. So he's not playing defense anymore.
Look at what it was in his first year.
33%.
Second year.
13.
Last year.
2.
Trend.
Yes, special teams. Last year, he played 37% of the special teams snaps. Now, if that's something Alec Ingold can also do, that'll hurt Scott Matlock. If it's not, then maybe that helps. Scott Matlock, got to pay close attention. Nobody's carrying two fullbacks.
Yeah,
you're right.
And even Scott Matlock's special team snaps dropped 80. He had 80 fewer special team snaps this year than he did last year. So the writing is on the wall. He's got one more year on his contract. I think it's about a dead cap hit of right around $1.2 million. That's pennies in the NFL. But roster spots, and there's 69 of them, or 70 if you have an international player on an NFL football team. 70 roster spots becomes very, very, very coveted real estate, and I'm not sure that the Chargers will go there. We hope so, and we hope Scott Matlock
or another team.
Well, we'll see. I mean, maybe. I mean, we'll see. I think his best shot would be to stick with the Chargers. I'm not sure how marketable and serviceable he is, but he's also the kind of guy, and we saw this at Boise State in his younger days and his later days, just always grinding, always proving people wrong, always getting places where maybe he wasn't supposed to be in a good way, and just cranking out a career and a living. And it would be really cool if he could stick around and make that happen. But I think we're all embracing ourselves for something to happen with Scott Matlock this offseason.
Yeah, but we're certainly not going to bet against Matlock, his career being done on this show. Like you said, find a way. Scott Matlock, we expect that to potentially be the case. Did I see Khalil Shakir is a hockey fan? Not only does he drive the Subaru, which we love, Prater, as Subaru men, but Khalil Shakir was at a Buffalo Sabres game like last night. Khalil Shakir, he's Buffalo famous, man.
Well, I think anybody on the Bills is a Sabres fan right now. They're playing well.
Yeah, no, he banged the drum, although I will say, and I do love the Sabres, I love that franchise. Your drum is weak and your pregame ritual is weak, but that's not Khalil Shakir's fault. He got up there and banged the drum, wearing the Sabres jersey, pumping up the crowd, and the Sabres are going to the Stanley Cup playoffs for the first time in a long time, so they're all fired up. He not only did that last night, he was one of the first guys to show up this morning, because if you go to the Bills' social media pages, they showed pictures of all the players showing up at headquarters this morning. Khalil Shakir was the only one that had a picture taken in the dark.
First there.
Well, I don't know about that.
I mean, that's what it means. I mean,
well, I don't know if it means
you were
that.
there in the morning, though.
Yeah, but, I mean, there could have been people that beat him there. I don't know.
Good point.
He showed up in the dark, and Khalil Shakir was certainly ready to go to work this morning after beating that wimpy, puny little drum with the Buffalo Sabres.
It's just not, because that's kind of a big deal in hockey that the Golden Knights, I think, started. Like, hey, you better have a cool pregame presentation.
Well, AC Boise had a bigger drum presentation than the Sabres did last night.
Ouch. Oh, no offense, but AC Boise, yeah.
They had it going on.
They did.
They had it going on Saturday.
Guys, it's handcrafted and distilled in Idaho, Blue Ice Vodka. It's going to set a premium standard with natural ingredients and a smooth, refined taste that's shaped, Prater, by true vodka craftsmanship.
100% right here in Idaho, distilled in Rigby with Idaho potatoes, Idaho water straight from the Teton Mountain Aquifer, and then also Idaho hand-picked huckleberries. We're going to talk a lot about huckleberries. Ballgame, Masters weekend this weekend. I'll be sitting around sipping on some Blue Ice Vodka.
Potato vodka, double espresso, organic wheat vodka, which I'm sure you love, Prater, and the huckleberry vodka, which is tough to stay on the shelves.
Huckleberry vodka with the lemon, spectacular.
With Blue Ice, yeah.
Double espresso, shaken with ice, not stirred. Put it in a shot glass. Absolutely spectacular.
All right, guys. Appreciate everybody. There are two types of people in this world. One that would love to be invited to the NFL draft, and one that says, no thank you. Prater in the Ball Game, KTIK, the ticket.
This is Ticket Traffic.